In motion is Sewell. Goff to throw. Wants to throw it to Sewell. He caught it! Boy, Sewell with a first down! Oh, yes! The big man dives down to the 31-yard line. Oh, that is beautiful!
Welcome to the Twentyman in the Huddle podcast presented by Microsoft, and I am happy to welcome in Michael O'Hara. And Mike, we have to start right off the top with the breaking news this week. Jeff Okudah, Lions' third overall pick in 2020, traded to the Atlanta Falcons. In return, the Lions get a fifth-round draft pick in this year's draft. It improves their number of picks to 9. They came in with 8. Now they've got 9, 2 in the first, 2 in the second, a third, a fourth, 2 in the fifth, and 2 in the sixth, I believe is the total. And when you look at kind of how this transpired, especially what they did in free agency, the writing was kind of on the wall for this, wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah, I'm not going to say I wasn't surprised or not surprised, because things happen, but I wondered about that because look, they've got 3 guys who are also a couple that are going to be on 1-year contracts, you know, and so where did he fit in the future of this defense? We're talking about Okudah. Just where did he fit? And I didn't quite see it. I really didn't.
You know, and for Jeff, look, he gets a fresh start.
Sure,
you know,
absolutely.
I mean, obviously injuries were the big story of the start of his career. Had the core muscle injury that allowed him to play in only 9 games his rookie season. Then week 1 in 2021, he gets the Achilles injury, misses that entire. So he only plays 10 games his first 2 seasons. And then last year, I thought, you know, won a starting job out of camp and really played the first 10 weeks or so. Played like the number 3 overall pick, and then kind of hit a wall late in the season, which I kind of
the rookie wall in your third year.
It was the rookie wall in your third year, right?
Yeah.
And you could maybe make an argument for that. You know, had some inconsistencies late in the season. You know, lost some playing time, was benched late in the year. Then obviously didn't play week 18. I think it was the concussion that held him out there. But it just seemed like a fresh start might be a good thing for that young man.
I heard one of the personnel directors here years ago is that talking about a player and why they let him go. I don't remember all the details right now, and he just said, no runs, no hits, no errors.
Yeah.
In other words, nobody left on base. It just didn't make any plays, and I didn't think Jeff made a lot of plays. He had the 1 interception early in the season.
Chicago.
Against
Helped him win that game.
Yeah, helped him, but I think he took it back to the house, and he was a tough guy. I thought he wasn't afraid to mix it up, but I just didn't see plays.
Right.
You know?
Big time plays. And I thought there were maybe some plays against that showed up more. And when you're a cornerback that gives up more plays than you make, that's always, you know, that's not a recipe for success.
You know, and I think it's been proven over time that this regime, you know, head coach Dan Campbell, when he doesn't see things going the way he wants them, he'll make changes.
Yeah.
And you're either in or you're out. Now, that doesn't mean there's not development for players. It's not quite that cutthroat, but it's sort of the way it is. And I just don't think that Jeff fit here what they're trying to do.
And you see some guys that obviously are fits. Cam Sutton, a guy that they went after, you know, immediately.
Yeah.
First day, Cam said that was the first call they made was Brad Holmes and the Lions. Emmanuel Mosley, a guy I think was available because of a torn ACL suffered in October of last year. But look, this is a guy that started at cornerback for the San Francisco 49ers. And then you got CJ Gardner-Johnson. He can play safety. He can play nickel. Led the league with 6 interceptions last year. And you add all those guys, plus you re-sign a versatile guy, which I know Dan and Brad love, and Will Harris, a guy that's pretty much played every spot in that secondary, physical guy who they really like, who fits their brand of style. And then Jerry Jacobs, a guy that Aaron Glenn last year called a bulldog, one of his favorite players on the roster. And so you start to go down that list and you're like, wow, you know, where's Jeff fit into that? So to be able to give that young man a fresh start in Atlanta, you also get some compensation for him. It really didn't surprise me. I thought you made a good point at the top. It wasn't surprising.
No, it wasn't that surprising. But you're also getting some value for him too now. More value in the draft pick you're getting than what you're getting out of him on the playing field.
Well, and the salary cap relief.
And the salary cap relief too.
The guaranteed
sure.
money that goes with being the number 3 overall pick. So you get some salary cap relief as well. What do you like about the veteran guys that they signed? CJ Gardner-Johnson, Mosley, and Sutton.
Well, just talking to him, they seem like our kind of guys. They're kind of outgoing. And
I think I asked 4 questions of Sutton on this podcast. He likes to talk, which I know we're both going to love.
I just leaned back and watched. I watched him talk. No, he was good. And I like Gardner Johnson. Just so you look at his background, and he looks like a guy who's ready to play ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's ready to win, and he's ready to play ball.
That secondary better, in your opinion?
Yes, no doubt, yeah. And I think some of your guys are getting grooved to this system now. Will Harris, I've probably been higher on Will Harris than most people. Mm-hmm. I like the effort he plays with. I really do. He never takes a half-speed step. That's one of the things I like about him.
Jerry's the same way.
Jerry Jacobs, yeah. I think last year was a development year for him, coming off a pretty serious injury. I think he'll be better this year than he was last year. But he's a kid who just seems to have a knack for football.
Yeah,
a passion for it, and a knack to go with it. And there's a difference. There's a lot of guys may love to play, but they don't have the knack to play. I think he's got both.
All right, let me ask you this question. Because of the additions that we just talked about, still cornerback in the draft, is that still in play?
That's what I was going to ask you. That's not fair.
I'm flipping it around. Well, here, let me start with it.
I'm turning my notes over.
Let me start with it, and I'll say yes. I think absolutely. And this is the reason why. Look, we talked about all the additions, but C.J. Gardner-Johnson, 1-year deal. Emmanuel Mosley, 1-year deal. Will Harris, 1-year deal.
Yeah.
You don't have Jeff anymore. So really, all you have under contract after 2023 is Sutton and Jerry Jacobs. And so I certainly think that one of those top 3 guys at 6, if that's how my board plays out, at 18, I think certainly if they like a cornerback there, and then you've got 3-day 2 picks, I think it's a deep class at cornerback. So I think certainly that is definitely still in play.
Round 1?
Round 1?
That's my question for you. Round 1?
18.
18?
I think 18. Now, let's say, here's the scenario. 2 guys I really like, Wilson, the pass rusher, Will Anderson.
Right.
I don't know about Jalen Carter yet. I'm not sure he's a fit here. We'll just have to see. Obviously, those guys will have an opinion.
Put him on the shelf until,
that's the important one. Those guys are gone. I think a guy like Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez is in play at 6 if one of my pass rushers are gone, because I don't know how you view the draft, but this is just me. I always view it quarterbacks, pass rushers, and guys that protect the passer. That's your value at the top. And so I look to get that kind of guy first. A pass rusher would be ideal for me, but let's say my 2 top pass rushers are gone at 6, then maybe I want to get the best player at that position, and that's a cornerback. Then that's where I would pull the trigger on that. But I think more likely at 18 or second day.
What about Miles Murphy, though? I'd add a 3rd one in there. Not quite with the first 2.
Yeah, I just don't like the fact of getting maybe the 3rd best player at a position at 6. And I know it's a position of value.
Well, the other side of that is everybody's trying to get the 3rd and 4th best quarterback, but quarterback is an entirely different thing.
That's an entire different
Guys,
topic.
fight it out. I want to watch, okay?
And it's glad that you're not in that conversation. And so I think best scenario for the Lions is 4 of those quarterbacks go in the top 5. Maybe Seattle falls in love with Jalen Carter, or that's a really good fit for him, and then Will Anderson Jr.
It's
the best pass rusher in the class. You can walk away 2 drafts in a row with arguably the best pass rusher and be set on the edge for 4 or 5 seasons. I think that's the home run.
I mean, if you're the Lions, you could sit there and let them draft 5 quarterbacks in front of you, not even blink.
Yeah.
You know.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into a little bit of other news. I haven't had you on a little bit. Marvin Jones Jr., wide receiver, is back. I like Marv. I know you have a relationship with Marv. I know you're pretty close with Marv. He was here for 5 years. What do you think of the addition? It's kind of an addition via subtraction. Chark signed somewhere else. You get Marvin Jones Jr. What do you think?
Well, I think they lost a little bit with not having Chark because they had the deep threat. But the one thing about Marvin, and when you get a little bit older, you might notice these things, but he looks the same as he did 6 years ago when he walked, or 7 years ago.
He'll look the same at 40.
When he will. I never did. I was starting to decompose in my teens, but no, I mean he's a ball player. He really is. Like he's 6'1", 6'2", weighs 190 something like that. I don't think he's got a great vertical jump or anything like, but he gets 50-50 balls that he's not supposed to get.
Right.
And it's just the way he plays. And, Matthew Stafford really had a lot of faith in him to this degree one time. Stafford had thrown an interception down the middle. I asked him 3 or 4 days later in the locker room, I says, you didn't see the safety there? And he says, oh, I saw him. So I just want to give Marvin a chance to make a play. That was the faith he had in him.
And I think what that adds to this defense too is obviously you got Jameson Williams, big expectations for him. That's your vertical threat, right? That's a guy that can fit into that X spot that Chark filled and give you some of that vertical threat. Obviously, we know what Amon-Ra St. Brown is. I think one of the top 10 receivers.
Mop up inside.
Just takes care of everything. And now you've got a guy in Marv that those intermediate, those deep routes, the 50-50 balls that you talked about, catching it in traffic, it just adds another guy. Plus Khalif Raymond and Josh Reynolds, who I think are good players in their own rights. I think you've got now 5 guys that really give you a versatile skill set. You really have a complete wide receiver room.
Well, one thing about, you mentioned Khalif Raymond. I went back and looked at the stats when I thought, did I miss something? Did he really catch 51 balls or something like that, whatever it was? You don't think of him as a high volume, but he is. For the amount of plays, the amount of reps he gets. He is, and he does it deep. He does it any way you want it.
And look at some of those catches too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Jets, a key third down, 3rd and 14. Some of those 3rd and longs, tough catches over the middle. Plus, he's one of the best punt returners in the league as well.
No, you get value from him.
You get a lot of value from him. And I think, Josh Reynolds is another one of those guys, really good in the red zone, has good hands. You don't see drops from him very often, lengthy body. But I really do like the addition of Marv. Not only that, but he's a good guy. He's a good locker room guy. He's a veteran. I think if I'm Jameson Williams, I attach myself to a guy like that who's been in this league for a long time, been doing it for a high level for a long time, and is consistent as heck.
No, and you never have to put out a fire at Marvin's locker.
No,
it's everything's cool.
Everything is good. Yeah. So let's touch on a little bit else of free agency. What else jumped out at you? Any other signing that you really liked that jumped out to you? Maybe a re-signing
Graham
that you
Glasgow.
loved?
It's not very often a guy re-signs. Right? He's been away for 4 years.
Right.
You got 4 years to pick him apart. That's why we got rid of him. But actually, they didn't really get rid of him. He just got a better offer to sign with the Denver Broncos. I think the Detroit Lions' offensive line it's probably the deepest position the Detroit Lions have had, with maybe the exception of Barry Sanders by himself, of one position that's completely taken care of.
Yeah.
In all the years I've been covering the Detroit Lions, I don't think they've ever had one position that had maybe starting quality backups at 3 positions on the offensive line.
Yeah.
I think they've got 8 starting players.
Wow.
Some of them are better than others.
Yeah.
But the bottom 3 are starting caliber players.
And that's going to make everyone better on that side of the ball. Goff,
Absolutely.
David Montgomery, Swift, everybody.
The plays you can run, the things you don't have to, we can't handle. No, you can handle anything.
It was funny. I had Ben Johnson on the podcast right after he, decided to come back after kind of flirting a little bit, taking some interviews with some head coaching chops, and he joked. He said, "Oh yeah, the offensive line's the reason why I'm coming back," and I don't blame him.
I don't blame him
because
either.
That's got to make you sleep very good at night as an offensive coordinator, knowing that you've got those guys up front that can plow the way in the run game, that can protect your quarterback. Shoot, you can throw them the football on 3rd down. You've shown that they can do that. Taylor Decker has 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's just a versatile group. 4 Pro Bowlers up there, and getting a guy like Graham, Big V's coming back.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. One for me was the commish. John Cominsky. I think that's a very underrated re-signing. And
Absolutely.
I had the commish on the podcast as well after he re-signed. And great dude. But he's one of those guys, Mike, and you need a bunch of these guys that just does the dirty stuff. Just play, right? He's the guy that plays the games and the stunts that allows Aiden Hutchinson to get the sack and do the Michael Jackson dance, and the crowd goes wild. But when you go back and watch the film, it was John Cominsky that took 2 guys or made the hustle play to make the tackle have to, move over and step to him, that allowed Aiden to get the sack. You need guys like that on your football team. John Cominsky, I think, is what was one of the key re-signings that maybe a lot of people didn't think of, but a lot of people are going to understand when the season gets rolling.
And there was one other signing that shows you the side of football that I didn't like it, but I understand it, and I think it's the right thing to do, was signing David Montgomery and not bringing back Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
But you got to do it. You've got a better player.
2 years younger.
Yeah.
Gives you more out of the passing game, a little better pass protector. Now, look, Jamal added a lot in the locker room, was heart and soul, and this team's going to miss that. And New Orleans is going to love that about him. But I agree with you. It's 26 versus 28 years old.
Yeah.
For the same type of money, gives you a little bit more sizzle, not as powerful, but maybe a little bit more electric, a little big play.
Yeah.
So I think they've improved this team a ton, and now you've got 9 picks heading into this draft in a couple weeks, 5 in the top 81. Mike, it's a football team that could get pretty good.
With all this, just don't get one in the 7th round. Let's go home after 6.
I love it. He is the Hall of Famer, Mike O'Hara. We'll have another one for you previewing the draft here in a week or two. So come back then.